Cole Cloud, Product Marketing Manager, and with me is Les Wheel, Head of Valuations, and we're looking at the state of the industry. Les, it's been about a year since the collapse of the Lehman Brothers, and we're beginning to see signs that perhaps we're over the worst of the recession. Is this filtering through to the aviation market?
Well, Ben, I think the airlines entered the summer of 2009 with what I would term more hope than expectation that perhaps things wouldn't turn out to be too bad based on the capacity cutbacks and lower fuel. And we even got to the state where some industry watchers were thinking the industry could still be profitable in the recession. Clearly things have deteriorated much more than anyone perhaps envisaged. Demand in the premium cabins and in the cargo spaces of aircraft has collapsed dramatically. Airlines have not been able to build up the cash reserves to see them through the low season. So the prognosis isn't particularly good at the moment, and I think now we're approaching the winter schedules. We're going to see some significant cutbacks, both in terms of capacity and in costs, primarily in the workforce, as airlines strive to reach profitability again.
Well, you talk about capacity cutbacks, and what effects is this going to have on aircraft values?
But there are two value scenarios that most appraisers in our sector use, which is current market values and base values. If we turn to the latter, base values, which are very theoretical in nature and tend to try and indicate the long-term value of an aircraft, we basically have seen no change in those values. The changes in the market are broadly in keeping what you'd expect on the back of a global recession and the credit crunch. On the market value side, as I said, we've seen a lot of deterioration in values over the last 18 months or so, and we expect to see that to continue over the coming year. Obviously it's going to differ between different ages and specifications of aircraft. In our view, it's the older out of production technology which will be bearing the brunt of the cutbacks, and we perhaps see a further 15% decline in values over the coming 6 months or so. Even though many sellers and buyers are building these cutbacks into their expectation on values, we think this could be a lot worse than people anticipated. For the into-production types, things are a little different. In the wide-body sector, the withdrawals of the likes of early A340s, 747-400s, 767s, and the delays to the 787 may give a little more resilience to the wide-body values. But I don't think anything is going to be immune to the declines that we're seeing in terms of capacity coming out of the market.
How about cargo? Is that still showing extreme softness, or things improving there as well?
This sector has always been a bit of a leading indicator for the passenger market, and what we see so far does not augur well for the passenger market. The initial response to the cargo downturn was to lay down the older generation of wide-body freighters, DC-10, 747-400s, but as such is the deterioration in the market that airlines are now laying down the newer generation wide-bodies, the MD-11s, 747-400 freighters, and there are close, certainly in the last week when I looked at the data, some 40-odd newer generation wide-body freighters parked. The good news in terms of values is that in most cases the airlines are parking these aircraft short-term. They believe they will be needed if and when the market recovers. And our concerns would be, one, maybe the market doesn't recover to the same degree as before. We have the delayed deliveries of the 747-8 freighter coming on board, and we're also getting increasing opposition to nighttime cargo operations in Europe, which could change the airline's view on the amount of capacity they have. So while we're a little more optimistic on the values, I think there is a lot of uncertainty, and how it will unfold over the next 12 months to really be overly optimistic on this sector.
And how about over the next 2 years? What's your opinion of that timescale?
I think, fingers crossed, 2010 will be a year of stabilisation, with value declines moderating, perhaps more in keeping with annual depreciation. In our view, airlines are a long way from adding capacity, which will really stimulate demand and increase market values. And we probably think it's going to be 2011 before we see some real green shoots in aircraft value recovery. The other concern we have, and I know some airlines are beginning to address it, is whether this recession will bring about a sea change in the premium parts of the cabin. Whether that the demand for business travel will come back to the same degree as we've seen in the past. If this isn't so, we believe this is going to have profound effects not only for the airlines but also for the whole of the supply chain. So yes, we may be over the worst globally. Values yet to see any significant recovery and won't do for a little while. But I think more worrying in the long term is whether this downturn is bringing about a sea change in business travel in particular, which is where most of their airlines make their money.
Okay, thank you very much, Les, and thank you for joining us, and hope to see you in the next video cast. Thank you.